fair to Whitehaven, they proved they were champions, and the main difference for them in the game, in terms of making it a contest, was when their bench came on. When you're able to bring on Dion A and Carl Forster off your bench, it's really a no contest. And Forster was fantastic. They did very well, and they're very good at shifting it out to their back three in particular, who really chimed in. Fullback Burns played very well for them, and I think they'll make a decent fist of it in the Championship. I think if they get a couple of good signings that bolster them, perhaps someone, some Cumbrian players that want to drop down.
They might need to add a little bit of youthfulness in the pack. But they've got strike, haven't they, in the outside backs? So if they stay injury free, there's promise there. And good travelling contingent to celebrate this victory and promotion from Whitehaven as well, I understand. Yeah,
over 500 there. And to be fair to them, given that some of them have been on the drink since 4 a.m, they held it together remarkably well. We had a classic pitch invasion that I did the contractual obligation. Sergeant Wilson said, we wouldn't mind awfully if you wouldn't mind staying off the pitch. Thank you very much. Knowing full well that my tiny little microphone and 3 stewards was not going to stop 500 Whitehaven fans getting on the pitch. And it was like, we won't, and I had to sort of do the kid logic, we won't present the trophy to, whatever, and let them all come on. So it was quite a scene at the end of the game as they flooded onto the pitch. And Whitehaven fans were very respectful, and after they'd won the trophy and they presented the trophy, they got out the pre-prepared polo shirts that had already been embroidered. So there was half of me that kind of wanted to, if had the result gone differently, what would have happened to these polo shirts?
I'm guessing that they would have been worn when they were doing Foreigners, the tradesmen following the Whitehaven side. Elsewhere in League One, congratulations to Whitehaven. Elsewhere in League One, North Wales 36, London 18. Hunslet 20, Oldham 34. Keighley 22, Newcastle 32. And Workington 4, Doncaster 30. There was some ramifications on final finishing places from those fixtures. Tim, do you want to take us through those?
Yeah, as we mentioned, Whitehaven finished top and are promoted to the Championship as of right to maintain the Cumbrian presence in that second tier. Oldham finished second with Newcastle third, Doncaster ending the season in a reasonable form up to fourth, Hunslet fifth, Workington sixth to complete that playoff picture. North Wales, London Scholars, Coventry, Keighley and West Wales complete the table.
Into the Women's Super League then, it was Wakefield 4, Castleford 36, so Cass went easy on their local neighbours in this one. Wigan 20, Bradford 20 on the R-League app, some thrilling tries in that match. York 16, Featherstone 26, and finally St Helens 20, Leeds 20, two of the favourites drawing as well there, so that was an exciting round in the Women's Super League. Into the NRL, where it was round 25. They finished their regular season, whilst we still got a game to go with ours. It was the Rabbitohs 16, the Roosters 10, with Sam Burgess making 130 metres. It was the Eels 32, the Sea Eagles 16, Storm 24, Cowboys 16, Raiders 20, Warriors 24, although Josh Hodgson with a try and 40 tackles, Elliot Whitehead with a try assist, and Ryan Sutton came off the bench as well in this one. Bulldogs 30, Broncos 14, Titans 16, Dragons 24, with James Graham getting 112 metres and Gareth Widdop signing off from the Down Under Red V with a try assist. And then West Tigers 8, Sharks 25. Paul Gallen kicked a drop goal. That was some serious salt rubbing into wounds there on that regard. And then Panthers 54, Knights 10. God, the Knights are shit. How shit must the Titans be to have lost last week to the Knights? In the and that was without Cam Watkins. In the standings then, Tim, how did it finish? The Storm standings, end, not the bottom half. We don't care about that shit, right?
The Storm end on 42 points, 6 clear of the Roosters on 36. The Rabbitohs on 34 are in third, with the Raiders of Great Britain and Canberra on 32 in fourth. Eels, Sea Eagles, Sharks and Broncos make up the rest of that top 8, which move into the playoffs.
Exciting stuff. Okay, let's then look ahead to some of those exciting playoff games across the world of Rugby League, as well as some regular season games to finish off the Super League and the Women's Super League as we make our predictions. Crunch time, round 29 of the Super League. Still things to be decided at both the top end and the bottom end of the table. The only thing that's really not to be decided is the middle, Catalans and Leeds. So we put out some polls on the Twitter machine over the weekend. The first one of which was who goes down, and obviously there's 4 teams who can still go down, which is quite exciting at this stage of the season. The 4 teams are Wakefield, Huddersfield, Hull KR and London, who are positioned in that order as things stand. So
there's 4 sets of mortgages on the line.
The results that came out of that were the SLP vote in public. 53% of them said that Hull Kingston Rovers are the side to go down. 24% said that London Broncos will be the side to go down. 12% saying Huddersfield and Wakefield the favourites to stay up. Only 11% picking those to be the side who will face the drop. We also asked about the top of the table, so second place is still up for grabs. Between Wigan, Warrington and Salford. If Wigan slip up and either of the other two don't, then their points difference elevates them above the Warriors. So with all of that context set, those 3 sides were put into the poll, and the results came out that 76% of the voters felt that Wigan would maintain second place in the table. 8% thought that it would be Warrington who'd jump into that position, but 16%, so twice as many, liked Salford's chances of jumping into second in the table, but Wigan the clear favourites in that one. And then who's going to miss out? Who will end up in 6th position? And it's Castleford and Hull FC that are battling out for that last spot. Only 14% of the voters thought that Castleford will be the team that miss out. A huge 86% feel that Hull FC, who are sat on the outside now as it stands with their shocking points difference, will stay on the outside of that top 5. So that's how the voters think it's going to go. Let's talk about how we think it's going to go as we move through the games. Always going to be controversial, Tim, that a game had to be moved to Thursday for this round because it wasn't going to happen with any sort of notice. So it's frustrating for the fans.
Yeah, there's a question on this of, given, I think there's 2 parts to this. Given this weekend just gone has been a football international weekend, could we not have found a way to structure the season so that we made the last games all kicking off at the same time on one point when there wasn't a football match on, so to get it the maximum exposure you could possibly get it, and make it into an event and have it known about way in advance when the fixtures are out? Is it beyond the wit of people to do this sort of thing?
Probably.
Yes.
Probably, yeah. Yeah. So it's Wigan and Castleford fans who find themselves in the unfortunate position of the Thursday night game. Do you know,
especially if they're stuck on holiday.
It's one of the big arguments for why Super League should go back to 14 teams is the Thursday night games will be spread out far more evenly. It feels like Castleford have kind of had a raw deal this year, so no wonder their fans are anti-Thursday night games, especially as it's kind of a bit of a trip to almost everywhere other than Leeds and Wakefield for them. Anyway, such is life. That is how it will be. It will affect.
I'm never going to feel sorry for Cas fans. It's just not going to happen.
It will affect the attendance, but hopefully it won't affect the drama on the field on Thursday night, 7:45 p.m. kickoff on Sky. I will let you go first on this one. Who do you see winning, Wigan or Castleford?
I'm going to say Wigan by 12 points.
I go Wigan by 10, so similar sort of thing. I think it'll be fairly low scoring, maybe 20-10 in Wigan's favour. Let's go with that at this stage. Okay, on to Friday night when the real action takes place. Let's jump outside of how we would normally do it and first go to Hull FC versus St Helens. This game is Hull FC's last chance saloon to see if they can get into that top 5. If Wigan do pull off the win that we've both tipped them to do, Hull FC can get into 5th position as long as they beat the the league leaders, the favourites, and the side that will have a week off after this game regardless.
So won't need to rest players.
If anything, they need to play players.
Yeah,
I think Saints will win by probably a 3-score margin. I've got Saints by 16.
I'm saying Saints by 24.
Good point. If it gets to 16, it could get to 40 with
it could.
After they get 3 scores behind.
Saints attack versus LFC's head drop defence. It could easily just floodgates could be opening.
Yep. Possibly the game that's got the least on it. Especially if Wigan do their business on Thursday night. That's Leeds hosting Warrington. Where do you see this one going?
I think it's Warrington. I think Warrington by 12, possibly more.
See, unlike Saints who don't have to rest players, Warrington might be thinking about this. They've played every week this season so far because they've won the cup. They can still get second place, but if Wigan win on Thursday night, they can't get second place, and I've tipped Wigan to win. Therefore, I think Warrington might go in with a bit of a jumbled up side, and I think Leeds having the final game of the season.
Benny Westwood as captain or something similar.
Yeah, but Westwood and Jones Buchanan leading the sides out, won't it be? It will be that. But I'm going to go Leeds by 2. I think Leeds will take an early lead in this game and just cling on. That's the way I see it going.
I've got Warrington still managing to have enough, even with a changed upside. I think they'll probably play Blake Austin anyway, because they'll want him to get some more time under his belt, and I think that will be the difference.
I don't think they'll play Darryl Clark. I don't think they'll play 2 or 3 of Chris Hill, Cooper, and Jason Clark either. So I think there will be some scope there, but it will be interesting to see how that goes. Another game. No, the rest of the games all have stuff riding on them. What we're talking about, right? So we've got Huddersfield versus Catalan, Salford versus Hull KR, and Wakefield versus London to discuss. Which one do you want to start with out of them 3?
Huddersfield. Let's start at the top. Let's start at Huddersfield.
So we've got Huddersfield Giants, who rested a few players last week, so we'll be bringing back the core playmaking players that beat Hull FC 2 weeks ago, hosting the Catalans, who, let's face it, aren't really a team anymore at this stage of the season, sadly for them. Do you think that there's... What do you think?
I think Catalan might do it just on the basis of Huddersfield's beyond porous defence. And I think with their, if a few of the Catalan players decide to turn up, they're not going to have to do much and not really going to have to even talk to each other to score a couple of tries, and that could easily be enough.
I can't see Huddersfield losing this one. I think they've got enough desperation and enough class. They've got Jerry McGilvery, so they've got Donnell McIntosh. I think the 2 max will help them to a 14-point win.
Fair enough.
Okay, shall we go Salford versus Hull KR then?
The £1 million relapse. Yeah. As long as it's not the £1 million prolapse, we should be all right.
Salford, whatever way this falls from the Thursday night, will have something potentially to play for here. I mean, a third place finish. It's only Salford's second time in the playoffs in the Super League era. A third place finish would be absolutely phenomenal for this Salford side. I think it would, really justify the work that Ian Watson has done this year and the way the players have performed in the way he sets them up to do. I would struggle to go against Salford by a few scores. I know they had a ropey game against Hull KR and Huddersfield, teams like that earlier on in the season, but I think Salford by 20. They're playing well. Yeah,
I think Salford by a decent margin. I think they're going to have too much against the KR side that even when desperate can't pull it out.
So finally then, the Sky game. Friday night, most of the eyeballs of the Rugby League world will be on this one as Wakefield host the London Broncos, a London side who have refused to say die against a Wakefield side who have continually got injured. This is a an intriguing game. It's two sides who have played in those £1 million games that we no longer have, but somehow still have.